My life sucks, but this is great. You can't take my joy or spirit from what I've experienced through this channel. In spite of my current life situation, I still feel valuable enough to not be a victim of circumstance, but to even be better and more concise of conviction of who I am. Even more than when I had it all. Because you can't strip anything from someone who's actually lived life and been in all phases of reputable judgment of others. And most importantly, self-doubt of myself. Yeah, if you want to take it anymore, please. Oh, that's a pause. If you guys could please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, help go a long way. So yeah. Yeah, look, the progress of steady improvement after years and years of never giving up is what the real high in life is all about. Right, I talked about before, like, my life circumstance. I think it's pretty obvious I'm not really living high life right now. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot to offer anybody, but as you could tell, I'm a pretty happy guy. And you know, I got a comment. There was a comment actually on a video, and I know the person wasn't meaning anything bad. Sometimes you get people that try to think too deeply about stuff like, oh, well, you're actually saying these stuff because you're convincing yourself you're confident, but you're not really confident. It's because of this, and that. I hope this helps. All love, peace, and vibes. And I didn't take anything personal, but I'm also like, no, I was just talking about the state of the modern world, and it's pretty obvious there's a lot of mean and miserable people. I didn't say every single person's mean and miserable, but the overall state, there's a lot of mean and miserable people. That's all I said. The point I'm trying to make is when you're someone that's experienced the highs and lows in life, and look, everyone experiences highs and lows, right? But when you experience a volatile period of time in a short period of time, a good job that was stable, a 401k, health insurance, like health fucking insurance. You have a job with health insurance, you're doing something. And looking back, it was actually really, I don't know if the plan was actually any good, but it only took like 40 bucks a month out for myself. So, I mean, 40 bucks a week, 40 bucks a month, that would be exceptional. But you're probably not even getting a Band-Aid on if you go to the doctor. But it was a really good deal looking back. But I had it, you know. I had money, had my own place, had a girlfriend, lived together. You know, it wasn't perfect, but we were relatively happy. We were through thick and thin, and then it just hit my soul one day in December, and I was like, I cannot keep going back. And I'm not gonna get too deep into the, you know, I've already talked about quitting my job and stuff like that, and how it's led me to a life of, you know, self-inflicted, but a life of, it's a lot harder than I thought it would be to try to make money on your own. But it's been rewarding as well. And it's been over a year and like 4 or 5 months now since I left that job. And I've worked part-time jobs here and there, temporary jobs, just to kind of stay above water. But I lost the apartment. I lost all that stuff, you know. And it's really just about rebuilding myself back up. But during all that, recently, seeing what I've done here, where it's just been raw effort, I've told no one about this channel. None of my friends, like when I did my podcast prior, you know, you're excited at first. You tell all your friends, you're promoting it on Snapchat, you're promoting it on your Instagram and all that stuff. And, you know, your friends are nice and stuff, but then, you know, they eventually stop watching and listening. And then you see everything just stunted and all that stuff. To get back on topic, I always got to tell myself, get back on topic, Clint. When you go through getting stripped down to nothing but you. The reason why I work out a lot, because my body's one of the few things I can feel and control in a day, right? Like financially, I can't go do a lot, you know? And I realized through this process that even when I do start making money, I really don't need a lot. And I didn't even need a lot before, but you can rationalize convenience costs because you make enough money and then some. I've stripped myself down to nothing. I have no money. I have, like, I'm about to not even have a gym membership, you know. But what I have is this thing, for example, right? It's not the only thing I have, but all I have is this, my laptop, coffee at home, water, food at home, and for some reason, I've never felt more relaxed and calm than even with at times you have the financial stress. I'm not advocating don't make money or shit like that. I'm saying you gotta live your life for what's important to you, right? What's important enough to you, but don't put burden on others. So whatever that applies, that's the best way I would put it for you. But always be working towards something. Don't just like literally do nothing in a day. Build something, work towards something, have fun, do stuff you enjoy, and then get like lost and obsessed with stuff. Because at the end of the day, when you're stripped of everything, there is no criticism, an individual off the street, there's no negative comment someone can say that can make me unmotivated. There's no, there's not anything really anyone could do or say to me to lose my faith in myself, to lose my joy in life, to lose that natural, when you don't need a lot, you realize you really don't need a lot. I don't need a lot of friends to hang out all the time to feel like I'm worth the shit, to feel like I'm socially competent or good enough for people. Because I also see there's a lot of people that socially hang out and they need to hang out with a different friend every other day, 4 times a week, and then they're just on their phone all the time. They're not even present. Dude, I am present in life. I only have my phone out here just to keep up with notes to make sure I stay on topic. But like being out in nature, I'm not going to, it's corny as fuck to say, but when you're forced to be outside, because this is my getaway to get outside the house, and it's calm, it's peaceful, it makes you realize how silent life is. It's only loud if we choose to focus on what's loud, but life is really just this peaceful silence. There's so much space out here, man. You cannot, through this process, and I hope other young men can relate to this, like, you're gonna do the thing that everyone says you shouldn't do and what's wrong. And I also feel like there's this trend that just do the opposite of what people around you tell you. Like, I'm not, I'm someone, I've veered away from the quote-unquote system as much as possible. But I'm not saying that's for everyone. If you're someone that you need friends, you need a companionship to feel valued, well, you got to understand that those things come with you being able to offer stuff. And you got to be realistic that if you live a certain type of life, most of your friends and most of your companions around you, they're probably not really going to want to associate with it. They can't relate to you. And at the end of the day, life is about relatability. It matters. And what's weird is I think the people that relate to people online, as weird as it sounds, are people that have a hard time relating in real life. If you notice, most of like YouTubers and stuff like that do this just talking type of content, I don't, when I see them, I don't see them as like the life of the party people. I don't see them as the guy who's trying to hang out with 7 of his bros every other weekend to get drunk. I don't see them as like a club promoter where their job is to market and advertise. I see people who are very introspective, who spend a lot of time by themselves, who have also lived life in silence in different phases. They have been legitimately at where they've had nothing to offer people and people were there for them. And then when they had quite to offer and they were able to give back. I think when you live multiple different styles of life in short periods of time, you have a lot more understanding and you actually have a lot more empathy, believe it or not. You care a lot more about people because you realize when you don't need much, you don't need to expect so much from people. You don't need to expect so much from people. that you worry about the flaws of them that can interfere with the good they can give you. You just accept people for who they are. They feel more comfortable around you, so they can be more loose. And then you, by default, get the best versions of people. Hey, look, I've talked about dating on the show, and I've talked about like why a woman will leave or, cheat on a guy who's pretty stable for a guy like in my situation. And I've said before, it's pretty simply because there's no expectations for them to be anything. And they can be themselves. They can be loose, quite literally sometimes. And there's no expectations for you, no expectations for them. They feel present. And it's that primal aspect of feeling like genuine. It's that primal aspect of pressure is alleviated. Living a life where you choose to not allow pressure to bring you down is one of the biggest flexes. It's one of the biggest skill sets, in my opinion. It's when you can avoid unnecessary pressure. Like, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be good and to improve and be great at stuff. And we got to meet deadlines. We got to do X, Y, and Z to feel worthwhile. And we do all these things because we want to feel valuable. We want either self-satisfaction or valuable to others. To look at us in admiration, or if it's from you have a skill set to get paid for. All of it is really with the sole intent of being present. And really the only way I believe in today's world you can be present fully is, you and here's the thing, you could do the methods of like detoxing from your phone. That helps quite a bit. Not going on your phone past a certain time and screen time and, going outside, not wearing Bluetooth and stuff like all these things, they'll help. But you honestly won't feel present in a lot of things until you stop caring to be present for a lot of things. Because it's just got to happen. And this isn't saying you got to lose everything, that you got to become less of a stable situation. But sometimes you got to rock the boat a little bit just to know that, hey, I could drown in this bitch. I could fall overboard. Sometimes that's what wakes people up, And it'll regain that appreciation for things as well. The progress, like I said, man, I think I kind of went off the rails there. But the progress of steady improvement is really the real high. The progress, the power of momentum, the power of progress. That is really what the real dopamine is out here. And what we have allowed to be our dopamine doesn't require you to really have to do much. You just view a lot of stuff online. And you could feel something. You could feel excited. And I've had to manage myself, to be honest. Like, to see like the channel getting views and subscribers and engagement, consistently day by day now, I've had to relax myself to stop checking my analytics every hour to make sure like stuff is still going. Like, it's human nature. Even someone like me that's been disconnected, I could go days without my phone if I have the right mindset. If I'm really, and I probably need to soon. But, we're all like, we want to feel like we're a part. And unfortunately, I think the reason why content creation, for example, is at an all-time high is, everyone seeks community in an aspect. But the dopamine of feeling seen, the dopamine of feeling present with the world, and it's kind of like, it's a good thing, but it's also, it feels very artificial too. Like, it used to feel like you were genuinely listening and feeling attached to someone. But I think nowadays, it is a lot more of, it feels like the person making the content, their whole goal is to just say whatever the public, or do whatever the public wants to hear or listen to, and monetize and make money. You know, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. I've been transparent. Like, I hope this could be monetized one day and I can make a few dollars from it. I'm not expecting the world, but that would be cool. But I was posting videos when no one was watching. I posted on my other YouTube channel for years and years. It didn't even get to 100 subscribers. And to get that in literally a week, amass over that in 1 week, it's pretty insane. But I have to remind myself to like, hey, real life is still out here. And it's great that I put stuff out there that make people resonate, make people, I got a comment earlier today, like, man, and he's commenting on a few videos, and they're typically positive. He's like, man, it just feels like you just say what's on my mind. And that's a good, because it lets people know, like, what we are thinking is not crazy. If you have a thought about something, chances are there's at minimum tens of thousands of people that have thought about that same thing in the past week. I don't have a study on that. It just feels like the law of averages. Like, we all think the same shit, man. And I guess some of us are just willing to put it out there a little bit. And it's typically people who are willing. I've entered to a state of my life that I don't care about future job prospects. Like, if a job won't hire me because of a YouTube page where it's actually providing value to people, in my opinion, then is that really a place I want to associate with? Probably not. I mean, they would have to pay a nice pretty penny, but you gotta get to that comfort point in your life, that comfort zone, that willingness to be like, hey, this is who I am, right? And be cool with that. So yeah,